When Jake agreed to go on a blind date, he didn't expect anything special. Maybe dinner, some awkward small talk, and then going their separate ways. But when the woman across the table looked into his eyes and said softly, "You don't remember me, do you?" the entire night took a turn that would change his life forever. It wasn't just a date anymore. It was a reunion, one that reminded Jake that even the smallest act of kindness can echo for years. Hey everyone, welcome back to your channel name, where we share powerful true stories that warm the heart and remind us of the good in people. If you believe in the power of kindness, love, and second chances, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like this video, and comment below to tell us what you think. Now, let's get into today's story. Jake Miller was 34, living a decent life in Chicago. He worked as a mid-level manager at a logistics company, lived alone in a modest apartment, and spent most of his evenings either watching old movies or scrolling through his phone. He wasn't exactly lonely, but there was an emptiness he couldn't quite name. His friends were all getting married, having kids, moving on with their lives. Jake told himself he was fine, that he just hadn't met the right person yet. One Friday night, his best friend Mike called him up. "Dude, you're coming with me tomorrow." "No excuses," Mike said. "There's someone you need to meet." Jake groaned. "Another setup?" "Mike, the last one thought the earth was flat." "Trust me," Mike laughed. "This one's different." And so, Jake agreed. The next evening, he walked into a small Italian restaurant downtown. Candlelight flickered across the tables, soft jazz played in the background, and there she was, sitting by the window. Her name was Lila. She had chestnut brown hair tied in a loose ponytail, a gentle smile, and eyes that seemed to hold a quiet sadness mixed with warmth. As Jake approached, she looked up and smiled. "Hi, Jake." "Hey," he said, shaking her hand. "Nice to meet you, Lila." From the start, there was something familiar about her, though he couldn't quite place it. Maybe it was her voice, or the way she tilted her head when she listened. They ordered pasta and began to talk. It started casually: work, hobbies, family. Lila was a teacher at a local elementary school. She loved kids and had a soft spot for art and books. Jake found himself relaxing. She laughed at his jokes, asked thoughtful questions, and made him feel like she genuinely cared about his answers. Halfway through dinner, she grew quiet. Her fingers played with her glass as she looked at him thoughtfully. "You don't remember me, do you?" she asked. Jake blinked. "I'm sorry, should I?" Lila smiled softly. "We met a long time ago." "You probably don't remember, but I do." Jake frowned, trying to search his memory. "High school? College?" She shook her head. "It was the summer after my mom died. I was 16. Jake's stomach tightened. "I'm sorry." "I don't." "You worked at Miller's Grocery, right?" she interrupted gently. "You were a cashier there." Jake nodded slowly. "Yeah, when I was a teenager." "Well," Lila said, her voice trembling slightly, "I used to come in there a lot. My dad lost his job, and we were struggling. One day, I was at the register, trying to buy groceries for my little brother. I didn't have enough money. I remember standing there, holding back tears, because people were staring at me." She paused, and Jake could feel his heart pounding. "And then you, this boy with messy hair and the kindest eyes, you reached into your pocket and covered the rest. You said, 'Don't worry, it happens to everyone.' You smiled like it was no big deal." Jake's eyes widened. The memory hit him like a wave. He did remember a scared girl with tear-streaked cheeks clutching a bag of bread and milk. He hadn't thought about it in years. Lila's voice softened. "That day, you had no idea what it meant to me. I went home and told my dad. He cried. It wasn't about the few dollars, it was the kindness. It made me believe there were still good people out there." Jake swallowed hard. I had no idea. I'm glad it helped." Lila smiled, her eyes glistening. "It did more than that. It inspired me. I wanted to be that kind of person too." That's why I became a teacher. I wanted to give kids the same hope you gave me that day." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The soft hum of the restaurant filled the silence. Jake really looked at her, and realized something profound. The girl he had helped years ago had grown into this incredible woman sitting in front of him. And somehow, fate had brought them back together. He laughed quietly, still in disbelief. "Wow. Of all the people in this city." Lila chuckled. "Yeah. Life's funny that way." They talked for hours. About the past, about their lives, about how small choices ripple through time. The night ended with a hug that lingered a little longer than either expected. When Jake got home, he couldn't stop thinking about her. It wasn't just attraction, it was gratitude. Somehow, that small act of kindness had come full circle. Over the next few weeks, they kept seeing each other. Coffee dates, walks by the lake, long talks that went late into the night. With each conversation, Jake felt a warmth he hadn't felt in years. One evening, they walked through the park as the sun set. Lila looked up at him and said, "You know, when I agreed to this blind date, I didn't think I'd be meeting an old hero." Jake laughed. "I was just a broke cashier." She smiled. "No, you were someone who saw me when I felt invisible. That's something I'll never forget." He reached for her hand, and for the first time in a long while, Jake felt like everything in his life made sense, every moment, every choice, leading to this one. Months later, Jake stood on the same grocery store corner where he'd once worked. It was now a small cafe, and he and Lila were there together, laughing over coffee. As they watched people walk by, Jake said quietly, "Funny, isn't it? How one small act can come back to you years later." Lila nodded. Kindness always finds its way home. They both smiled. 2 years later, Jake and Lila got married in a small ceremony surrounded by friends, family, and a few of Lila's students who insisted on being flower girls. During the vows, Lila told the story of that day at the grocery store. There wasn't a dry eye in the room. Jake realized then that he hadn't just changed her life, she had changed his. Her gratitude, her strength, and her heart reminded him that the things we do when no one's watching often matter most. That love built on kindness can heal, connect, and endure. Ending message. Sometimes, we go through life thinking our small acts don't matter, that buying someone a meal, helping a stranger, or offering a kind word won't make a difference. But Jake and Lila's story reminds us that kindness never disappears. It stays in people's hearts, shaping who they become and who they choose to love. So next time you have a chance to be kind, take it. You never know how far that ripple might travel, or who it might bring back into your life. Thank you for watching this story on Your Channel Name. If it touched your heart, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a reminder of the power of kindness. Because in the end, the smallest act of love can lead to the most unexpected and beautiful stories.